Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeaimMD here with my quarterfinals battle versus Pohjis for the Smogon Grand Slam playoffs. Now, this is game one. We played against best of five, if you guys didn't know. If you guys don't like watching my replays and having me discuss why I made certain plays, that's completely fine. Feel free to watch the replays down below in the description. But again, it's best of five in all the tiers that are Ubers, Little Cup, UU, RU, and NU. And we started off with a UU game. Now, just looking at matchup, it's going to be a little bit tough for me because Magneton traps my Scizor, and my Scizor is necessary for checking Altaria and Reuniclus on his team. I'm also thinking that he has an eject button. I was thinking it was on Crocodile team preview. And then maybe it's like Rot's bulky eject button, Crocodile plus Scarf Nihilego instead of Scarf, Crocodile plus Rocks Nihilego, which would be the alternative if it's not. Then like Calm Mind, maybe Z, Reuniclus. And if it's not Calm Mind Z, it might be Colbur. And if it's not that, then Nihilego could be Z. So as far as breaking potential goes, I'm going to have to play really good with my Volt Turn and hopefully set up for Como because I only need a little bit of damage off on Altaria for +1 Como to knock it out. And I have my Z move for Reuniclus, and I have pressure from Toxic on my Aerodactyl and my Rotom to really wear down Pokemon like Mantine and Crocodile, which will be really nice for, again, the Como. So, again, because he's not running Hydreigon, the fastest Scarfers he could have are either Crocodile, which doesn't do much to Como at all, or Scarf Nihilego, which, again, doesn't do too much to Como. So, as far as lead matchup goes, I was pretty weak to a ton of his team, so I decided that Aerodactyl would be the best lead. As it matched up well versus Mantine, Nihilego, because Scarf can't knock me out because I have HP investment, Crook, and Magneton, because I'd be faster than Scarf Magneton. So he leads off on Mantine as a lead off with Aerodactyl. Now, as far as switchings go, I thought that Crocodile would be his best, so I actually decided to Mega Evolve and go for Toxic turn 1, as opposed to Stone Edging. I didn't think you risk your switching to my Primarina and Scizor, one of your best switching. So he goes Crocodile right here. What I actually decided to do is Earthquake because Scarf Stone Edge never knocks me out, and if he is Rocks, I wanted to find out right now. Also, if he was Eject Button, I wanted to pop it immediately because I don't want Scizor going for U-turn on Crocodile and then him being able to bring out his Mag. So I went for Earthquake there as he brings out Altaria. Now, my best mid-ground switch is Rotom because it doesn't risk my Scizor right here as he goes right for a return. So based on that, he's not running very much attack investment at all, if any. So I know it's a bulkier set, and I do have Toxic again to wear it down. So this lets me scout for if he's Heal Bell or Refresh, and it also gives me a nice Volt Switch right here. A few plays I can make. I ended up going Palisand because if he wasn't refreshed, Palisand would beat it 1v1. Ends up being refreshed though. I'll be able to get my rocks here though because I can wear down that thing with Shadow Balls and Earth Powers repeatedly, and I have Scizor to always revenge kill it. So I figured rocks would be really nice. He goes Mantine. I bring in Rotom Heat on the Defog, which I expected him to go for, and I go for Volt, which is he brings out Altaria. And this is really important damage because that's +1 damage I need for Como to knock it out. It also allows me to bring out Specs Primarina, which he does not switch in very well to at all, besides Mantine. So it's smart of him to actually defog because he's able to bring out Mantine right there on the Specs Moonblast. Doesn't do too much, so he's actually more especially defensive than he is Fizz Def, as this allows me to bring out Rotom. He's pretty much forced to go for the Roost there, as if he goes for anything else, I'll outspeed him and knock him out with the attack. So brings out Crocodile. Now, Rotom's actually pretty useful, so I'm not going to double Volt Switch anticipating him to fear the Overheat. Rotom's leftovers allow it to significantly check the to switch in multiple times on the Mantine, the Altaria, and the Magneton. So I'm going to go Palisand because Scarf Knockoff never 2-hit KOs me, ever, even though it does a ton. And this allows me to go right for the shore up. Now, Nihilego, unless it's Extra Belt, it doesn't. It has a decent shot to KO me with Grass Knot. However, I figured this would be an opportunity to get up Rocks, especially because, first off, Nihilego's a giant threat, but Rocks pressure all the Volt Switching I've been doing around, pressure my Rotom, pressure my Aerodactyl, and also because the Grass Knot roll is in my favor, because I do have some Spadef, I decided to stay in here and get up Rocks. Now, if he wanted to go for Grass Knot this turn, unless he was Belt, it wasn't a guaranteed KO. He gets the roll though. I don't know if he's Belt, but it allows me to bring out Aerodactyl, and I can just go right for Earthquake as he brings out Crocodile. Now, I'm in a situation where he got up Rocks, and if he has Stone Edge, he can kill me. He has a shot to kill me right here. It's a roll, but because I do have some HP, but either way, he does have a shot to kill me. But if he goes for Pursuit and I switch out, I have like one switch in left, and then I'd be pressured defog. So right here, I decide to take the chance of him going for Pursuit versus Stone Edge and actually opt to Roost, as he does end up going for the Pursuit. So I'm glad I didn't switch right there, as that could have put me in range. Did 50, and I was in a decent position there. But I'll Stone Edge here as he switches out. Basically, his best switch-ins couldn't take Stone Edge. Like Altaria wouldn't appreciate it, and he also has a chance to crit. Mantine would appreciate it. Magneton, any damage on that is good for me, because that might be the difference between Scissor beating it. But he brings out Reuniclus, and I activated his eject button, so that's awesome. First off, he had a eject button in Reuniclus. That's pretty cool, because it does take banded U-turn from Scissor always at full, and Magneton comes in, and I'm assuming it's specs and just KOs it. But I'm able to activate that eject button, which is great, because that means I'm free to U-turn up as he brings out Altaria. Now, I'm going to bring out Rotom Heat. I could have went for the Stone Edge crit right there. Actually, if I got it, it would have KO'd Altaria, but because he was going for Roost. But this allows me to bring out Rotom. While I could defog, I opt to not, because my rocker is dead. And just based on the returns he did before and the fact he has Refresh, I'm pretty sure it's Dragon Dance, Roost, Refresh, Return. So Scissors are pretty decent switching. And at this point, I'm going to play, the smart game. I'm not going to let him pick a KO and pick the KO and Crocodile and then let Magneton come out. So I'm going to go for U-turn, as I am able to bring out my Aerodactyl. He sacks Crocodile. Reuniclus is going to come out. I opt to Stone Edge. I do realize now that he is Regenerator, though, not Magic Guard. So Toxic never really crossed my mind at this point, mainly because I wasn't sure of his set, really. Psychic Recover was all I was guaranteed of. I don't know what else. Calm Mind, I'm pretty sure. Then maybe, Acid Armor? Feels like it, and not... It kind of feels like Acid Armor and not like Focus Blast, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, he goes for Psychic here. Now, at this point, if I get a crit, I'll knock him out, and also Recover is his best play, so I'm going to go for the Stone Edge there. And what I can do now is just Roost off of my Aerodactyl. Again, I'm playing because he's a defensive Pokemon, I'm playing I'm playing a little bit more offensively with a Pokemon that's really important to me, that I could lose, obviously, if he attacked. But again, the chance that I could crit that turn, he should go for Recover, because he will lose to Como if Reuniclus is not healthy enough, and if Altaria is not healthy enough. It made sense for him to go for Recover there. So I bring out Primarina as opposed to Roosting, because I was worried about Focus Blast on a Roost. Obviously, it'd be super effective, because I lose my Flying type. And as he brings out Mantine, now I go for Sparkling Aria, because his only real Fairy Resist, Magneton's a Fairy Resist, but it doesn't count, because it will drop to, Moonblast's going to do 80, put it in range of Bullet Punch. His only Fairy Resist is Nihilego, and I didn't want him bringing that thing in. I didn't want to bring that thing in on me. So I went for Sparkling Aria. If I hit that and I got that call right, I basically would be able to spam Moonblast. But I'm going to bring out Aerodactyl now. If he goes for Toxic or Defog. Defog is kind of likely, considering my rocker is gone. And I could obviously have gone Rotom there, which would have taken the rocks anyway, and then I could Volt Switch after. But then you could always bring out Nihilego. So I bring out Aerodactyl. And right here, I actually go for Roost. And what I am going to do is actually go for the Toxic on Reuniclus to help me wear it down for my Como. Now, he gets a Spadef drop, which means that it's unlikely that I'll go for Roost here, because he will be able to knock me out. So I think he more than likely anticipates me to want to go Scissor or pivot into Primarina, which will take one hit and then do damage back. So I actually make the mid-ground switch of Rotom Heat over Scissor, just in case he did go Mag there, as he does. And it works out for me, because it gives me another Volt Switch as my Nihilego is going to come out. This will allow me to bring out my Aerodactyl, and I don't think he'd sack this Mon, because it's faster than my entire team besides Aerodactyl, and it threatens a lot of them for super effective damage. So I go for Roost for Aerodactyl as he brings out Reuniclus. Now right here, I'm a double Roost, and just because I'm out of range of his attack, and that means I can Stone Edge knock him out, or 2 KO him rather, but I end up missing, and he does get a Spadef drop. Now, because again Rotom is the mid-ground play, which will give me Scizor, or even getting in Scizor now, I, instead of Roosting, instead of going Rotom, I call my Nihilego double, anticipating me to go Rotom, and I go for Earthquake here, and I'm able to knock that out, which means I prevent rocks for the entirety of the game. Altaria is going to come out. My Aerodactyl is still very useful, as it can Roost stall Reuniclus without Spadef drops. It can Stone Edge the Mantine, Earthquake, Magneton. So bring out Rotom here. Gonna go for Volt Switch. This allows me to bring out Scizor, which again will take any hit. And I'm not going for Bullet Punch at this point. Magneton can still come in. He actually does bring out Magneton, which is better for me, because I'm able to U-turn out into Como, and everything's in range. The Altaria is around in range, and even if Altaria is not in range, I put it in range of Aerodactyl's Earthquake, which is even better for me. So even if I don't knock it out, it's in range of Earthquake always. So bring out Como, I'm going to Dragon Dance up. I know for a fact that Reuniclus' Psychic can never knock me out unless it crits, so I go for a second Dragon Dance here with my Como, as he's going to go for Psychic. And my best play is just to click Z Outrage. It doesn't matter what he does. He actually ends up sacking Magneton, which is even better for me because now Bullet Punch is even more free. He didn't go Altaria there because I guess he didn't want to risk it. So it's smart to stack Magneton there. I'm able to go right for the Outrage now, and that will put Reuniclus at 80%, which means that I can just safely go out into my Rotom. And I choose Rotom over Scizor because Volt Switch means that he's forced to go Altaria versus Mantine. And this allows me to get in Scizor. And again, I can go for Bullet Punch here, but what I ended up doing is, once again, going for U-Turn myself. I'm able to bring out Rotom. Again, we're just pressuring him with some Volt Turn right now, as he's going to go out into Altaria here, as I go for Volt Switch. And once again, just going to bring out Scizor. Again, these are kind of 50-50s, but like he really needs that Mon. So I could Bullet Punch right here, just in case he didn't want me to U-turn as he goes Mantine. However, this does give me Rotom, and it's more likely he'll go for Roost over Scald. Also, Scald would not knock me out. And what I decided to do is throw off a Toxic as opposed to Volt Switching because Mantine can Roost off 1. This works out great for me because now I'm able to pressure it with not only Toxic, but Volt Switch damage, and that also means it can't switch in on repeated hits. So I go Aerodactyl because he has to Roost here, basically, because if he doesn't, I Volt Switch again, and then I click Bullet Punch with Scizor and win the game. So goes for Roost. This allows me to click Stone Edge if I want to. As he goes Reuniclus, I do connect, and I end up critting. That just means I don't have to go for Earthquake after, or another Stone Edge, as Altaria is going to come out. And I'm going to go for Toxic because I can force the Refresh, basically, and always go Rotom to pivot. But I actually decided to go Scizor because if he does go for Refresh, I can just go right for Bullet Punch. He couldn't knock me out with a crit anyway at that turn, so that was I made that play. And now I can go for BP as he does bring out Mantine, and I see it does 26%. I'm not going to lie, I didn't really see the damage that it did, but this always gives me Aerodactyl to go out into as he goes for Roost. As he goes for Scald, because Rotom, basically, I'm not going to go Rotom because a crit on Rotom will end it right there. Whereas, I went in Scizor on the return because it wouldn't crit end it. But basically what I can do now is go out Rotom, go for Volt Switch as he goes Altaria. And Altaria, it's a max HP variant, by the way. I know that much just based on the calcs. It is guaranteed in range of Bullet Punch, so I go right for the Bandit Bullet Punch as he's going to bring out Mantine. Now, I do 26%, I do 25%, last time I did 26%, but I'm not about to risk the Pokemon that literally wins me the game on some garbage roll right here. So my best play is to always go Primarina. Now, what this does is, if he doubles out into Altaria, anticipating me to go out into Rotom, first off, it's checkmate. That's what it does. Basically, if he doubles out to Altaria, that stops him from roosting, and he's forced to attack me, whereas I go for Moonblast. If he goes for Scald or Mantine, it's GG either way. So I bring out Primarina as he goes for Scald, and at this point, basically, because I'm Specs and I outspeed Mantine, I can go for Moonblast. I'll knock it out, and Altaria is forced to attack me as well because I will knock it out with Specs Moonblast as well, meaning that my Bandit Scizor was actually able to clutch me this game in a matchup versus Specs Mag plus Eject Button. So, yeah, that matchup was not good. That matchup was not in my favor at all, but thankfully I was able to win that one. So, next up, we're actually playing the RU game. We had to challenge an OU because of the tier shifts, but we're playing RU. I have a 49 team. As far as this game goes, honestly, I think that SD Beware is really good versus his slower stuff like this. The Nidoqueen is a problem, that's for sure. However, unless it's T-Bolt or Thunder, my Lodic will be able to check it. And Scarf Gardevoir is going to be nice for checking Noivern as well. I'm also Cobra Berry on the Shaman, which means that I resist the Hurricane coming out, or I can take the Hurricane coming out, knock it out with HP Ice after Rocks damage. So as far as lead matchup goes, I was very worried about Nidoqueen. So I decided to lead off with my Gardevoir, also knowing that I'd scare it out with Psychic, and I'd be able to Will-O-Wisp potentially Bronzong or Snorlax here. So again, I trade Tier 4, so he's definitely going to die. So I go right for the Will-O-Wisp right here, anticipating him to want to switch out into either Snorlax or Bronzong. As he goes Lax, great, I get a Wisp. Didn't matter too much if he was Rest, but he ends up being Choice Band. I find that out right here as I switch out into Bronzong. This allows me to get up Rocks or go for Toxic. Now, because I value Rocks a lot, seeing as how he has Noivern, and again, that puts in range of HP Ice, and also Shaman can go in with Rock support. I go for them there, basically, as he's able to bring out Blastoise. This is smart. This allows him to spin safely, as I'm going to bring out my Lodic. And right here, I feel like he expected me to double out into Bronzong, or he was just gauging damage, but I think he expected me to double out to Bronzong, anticipating the Shaman to want to come out. I go for Toxic, and what I can do is just go right for Recover. Just to be at full, I can take every hit from every Pokemon, even Seed Flares from Shaman, as I'm going to go for Scald as he goes Bronzong up. Basically, right here, I have Refresh, so I don't really risk much by going for Scald, as I can burn him So I throw off 3 Scalds. I don't end up burning Bronzong as he goes for Psywave. At this point, I'm pretty much forced to go for Recover, as he is going to bring out Shaman. And I have a great switch in, which is my Bronzong now, or my Dragalge, excuse me, as he doubles out into Nidoqueen. Great play. So Earth Power is going to blow me away, even though I do have some Spadef. It'll still blow me away because Nidoqueen runs Modest Life Orb for the most part, I think, because Blastoise outspeeds that. So I have like one good switch in, which is Bronzong. I'm going to bring out my Bronzong right now as he goes right for Earth Power. And so I was running some calcs on Fire Blast from Nidoqueen. Now, if he has Fire Blast, it's bad because Spadef Bronzong is always 2-hit KO'd. However, if I get up the damage I need with Psywave on Nidoqueen, it puts it in range of Seed Flare from Shaman. It puts it in range of Draco from my Spadef Dragalge. So I go for Psywave here as he goes right for the Fire Blast. And I have a decision to make. I can go my Lodic. However, Sludge Wave after Rocks has a decent chance to 2-hit KO. And also if he has Thunderbolt, it's bad. Like if this is, it looks like it might be 4 attacks Nidoqueen too, or T-Spikes plus Fire Blast, Earth Power, Sludge Wave. So again, it might be 4 attacks Nidoqueen, which is really scary for me to switch into. So I go for Protect here, as I was debating going my Lodic, as he goes for Earth Power. And again, I was once again debating going my Lodic, but I'm not going to go my Lodic at this point. I opt to get up Rocks, which I think was fine because either way, it's in range of literally every single one of my attacks. The only, I guess, downside of me not going for the Psywave there is that Moonblast would KO Nidoqueen. So maybe that was a misplay because Moonblast was more spammable versus his team than Psychic was. For the most part. Either way, I get up Rocks as he goes for Thunderbolt, revealing he has it, so that means my Lodic is not a switch in. I'm going to go for Protect, and I'm actually going to go for a Double Protect because if I get it, Thunderbolt has a way less chance of knocking me out, and I can at least put some mind games where he might go for Fire Blast and try and miss it, or might miss it. So, goes for Thunderbolt, gets the roll on me. It's fine, I got a Double Protect, as I'm forced to bring out Gardevoir here. I was debating going for another Will-O-Wisp because Bronzong could come in, but seeing as how I have my Lodic to Scald it, I thought that, and this thing is a giant problem, I go for Psychic here as he brings out Bronzong. Now, just keep in mind, guys, at this point, I'm thinking his Shaman is Scarf, just for some speed control, because besides that, I thought he was a little bit weak to set up, and Dog as well, so maybe it's not actually Scarf. Yeah, like Zygarde, Dragon and Zygarde was really scary in this. Bandit in general was really scary. What the hell? I was just looking at it now. But yeah, throw off a Psychic. Sheer Force boosted does nothing to Bronzong. I'm actually going to go Shaman over going out into my Lodic because I'm scared about his double into Shaman, his own Shaman there. So I bring out Shaman. I could go for Leech Seed here versus Bronzong, but he seems to just be going for Psywave, so I'm not sure if he even has Toxic. As he goes for Gyro Ball, as I'm able to land my Leech Seed, and he does reveal the Toxic. But I can now go for the Synthesis one more time, putting me at full. So what I was trying to do was hoping he would go Noivern so I could HP Ice it and knock it out again after the Rocks. I have my Cobra Berry, so I'd be able to let it hit. But I'll go Dragalge right here as he goes right for the HP Ice. Doesn't put me in range of Earth Power, excuse me, which is nice. And what I can do now is just go for Sludge Wave. I opted for Sludge Wave over dropping a Draco because Draco would not be able to KO the Shaman at that point. But I'm going to bring out my Lodic here as he goes for Rapid Spin. Basically, my Lodic being in has a better matchup versus Nidoqueen than Dragalge does. Now, if this is Scarf Shaman, I'm not 100% sure at this point because I don't see an item. So I guess it could be Z, but I was thinking Noivern was Z and this is Scarf. But if it is Scarf Shaman, it can't knock me out with Sea Flare to 68 to 80%. Which my Lodic obviously shrugs off with a Recover, and then I can switch out accordingly into Dragalge. So it goes for Earth Power, and I was really happy right here because I knew that I could take any hit, and then he hits me with a Bloom Doom. So that's really bad. My Lodic was already going to be over-pressured, or really pressured by Nidoqueen, but obviously I needed that as a Bronzong pivot. So that's really bad for me. However, I can bring out Beware. I'm not going to go throw off my Z move, which would definitely knock him out because he's going to switch out fearing the Z move, so he's going to sack Blastoise. So I go right for Drain Punch on the incoming Blastoise, as he is going to bring out Nidoqueen, and this was a good opportunity for me because if he misses Fire... First off, Sludge Wave or Earth Power do not knock me out, and if he misses Fire Blast, my Z knocks him out, so I have to go off the miss at this point. I'm already behind like in the game. Throws off Fire Blast, does not miss, going to connect, I'm going to go down because of Fluffy, as Gardevoir is going to come out. And at this point, I was thinking about either Wisping or doubling, and I actually opted to double out to Dragalge because if he goes Snorlax, at least I can wear it down with Sludge Wave, and from there... maybe Psychic Sweep. It's going to be hard, but ends up going Nidoqueen, which was a good play. It will take the Sludge Wave, and at this point, he's going to be able to knock me out with Earth Power. So I go Shaman because if he goes for Earth Power, first off, he's shown Thunderbolt, Earth Power, and Fire Blast. So I'm assuming it's Sludge Wave as last, but it ends up being Ice Beam. So no Sludge Wave on this Nidoqueen, Ice Beam, and it puts Shaman in range. And basically, I go for Synthesis there because I have to hope he switches out, fearing me to go for Seed Flare. At that point, I don't think Shaman could have done it because I was in range of his own Shaman and Draco from Noivern, so I needed to recover there, unfortunately. But yeah, that was I thought it was a decent matchup at first, but 4 attacks Nidoqueen just went in versus my team. Like, I don't know what I could have done differently there. And I'm sorry, 49, because I know you gave me this team, so my bad, bro, about that game. Anyway, Ubers was the next game we ended up playing. Now, his team is very scary. It's a more offensive build. You guys saw it was Arceus Fairy, but even on preview, I'm thinking Arceus Fairy because he has no real good fighting switching. He has 2 Ghost types, but those are not Marshadow switchings. So I'm thinking Arceus Fairy, and if it's Rock's Arceus Fairy, then it's SD Groudon or Dual Dance Groudon, or just Rock Polish 3 attack special with SD Necrozma, Wisp Gengar, and whatnot. Like it's a scary one right here for sure. But I decided to lead off with Giratina because if it is Rock's Arceus Fairy, you're going to go for Rocks versus Giratina turn 1, which means that I can Thunder Wave you. So that's my thought process here. He does go for Rocks, I go for Thunder Wave, and I miss. And that's really big because I can't switch out into my Ultra Necrozma, or my Necrozma Dust Main rather, because if Rock's Arceus Fairy runs Wisp, as it doesn't allow this Pokemon to come in ever. So had I gotten out that Thunder Wave, I could have pivoted from there, but now I'm forced to take a Judgment, which is going to weaken me to the Groudon. But basically, I couldn't kill Arceus Fairy very easily. So I do Hex because it guaranteed 2 KOs it as he gets paralyzed right there. I don't have Defog on this Giratina, so it's Defog on my Arceus Fairy myself. So I'm going to not Defog and be 2 KO'd there. But I was able to deal with the Arceus. Obviously, the Para made it so I could actually knock it out, but had I hit the Thunder Wave turn 1, it would have been a little bit better for me. But he brings out Mega Gengar. At this point, a Tyranitar is... I kind of have to... like this Molin's a pain to revenge kill. I saved Giratina just because it's a pivot into Kyogre, which is a giant pain for my team. Obviously, Tyranitar can't get it up versus Kyogre, and my Groudon's offensive. So I bring it in on Gengar as he goes for Hex. Wisp is very likely, but I think at this point I kind of had to go for the Banded Crunch as he is going to bring out his Groudon. Now, if this is SD Rock Polish, I have to switch. If it's not, Crunch is fine if he's just Rock Polish special. But bring out Giratina here is fodder, as he does go for the Rock Polish first. So I'm assuming that it is special, as we do see the HP Ice, yeah. So I know for a fact that my Mega Mewtwo Y will take both Repressive Blades from a Groudon like this and a Fire Blast in the sun. So I Mega Evolve so I can guarantee take that Fire Blast in the sun, get off Side Strike, which does not do too much, but it does put me in range of HP Ice. And I'm going to bring out my Necrozma. Now it's Ultra Necrozma, however I don't have Earthquake. If I had Earthquake with Extra Belt, it would be a little bit easier right here, but I don't have Earthquake. So I'm forced to go for Photon Geyser. I am going to Ultra Burst as he misses Precipice Blades. Very lucky for me. Very, very lucky. Because Photon Geyser does not knock him out. It actually 2-hit KOs him. But this means that I guarantee live the next hit. So not having Earthquake is a little bit bad here. Because at this point, I'm assuming it's Z Necrozma Dust Main, and not Weakness Policy. So having Earthquake would be a little bit better. But he's going to bring out his Necrozma as I'm going to go hard into Groudon. Basically, if this is Rock Polish, I have to go Groudon. Yeah, I literally have to go Groudon. Because if it Rock Polish is up, I have to go off Groudon, knocking it out with Precious Blades, whether it be a crit or just a high roll. So I go Groudon as he goes right for the Earthquake. It was a very smart play on his part. And he crits me, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's okay. I mean, I also dodged. I mean, he dodged too, but I throw off Precious Blades at this point because I have to have damage on that as he's going to bring out Giratina. And what I'm going to do is sack my Tyranitar right here as he makes a very, very, very nice double out into Kyogre. This dealt with both my Arceus Fairy and my Tyranitar sack. So very nice play. Very nice play on his part as he's going to go right for the Origin Pulse. And what I'm going to do is bring out my Necrozma, my Ultra Necrozma. I'm going to go for my Z move, Light That Burns the Sky. Even though there's absolutely nothing to Necrozma Dust Main, because at that point I kind of had to. I had to at least force that Kyogre. And I kind of have to hope he's also like SD Morning Sun and not any other set. So he goes right for Earthquake. That's going to be able to knock me out. Now, at this point, if I want to win, I need to get to +4 with Groudon. And I need to crit Giratina as well with +4 Stone Edge. So I bring on my Arceus Fairy and I go for Thunder Wave here. as he's going to throw off his Z move. That's fine. The goal was to Thunder Wave, so that way I can get +4 with Groudon. I'm max speed, so I should at worst speed tie with Kyogre. I bring out Groudon right here. I'm going to go for the SD, as he does get full paralyzed once. And like I said, +2 Stone Edge doesn't KO Giratina, even with a crit. So I need +4 Stone Edge to give me that crit range. So I go for another SD, as he doesn't get full paralyzed. He's able to knock me out with Earthquake. So currently, it's 2-1 in Pohjis' favor. This was a really tough one, for sure. Especially after turn 1. But I think this was a tough one in general, because he had so much that pressured my Giratina. It was he made some really good team choices in RU and Ubers. So really nice prep on his part. All right, next game. If I lose this game, I'm out of the Grand Slam playoffs. If I win it, there's one game left, which is Little Cup. So I have a Trick Room team my boy Count made. It's really cool. It's really fun. And it's good. It's good too. It's definitely good. I see his team, and I'm looking at Crab, and Crab just goes in. Thunder Punch or Slowbro, Ice Hammer, close combat. This thing is going to get destroyed by Ice Hammer too. So Crab literally goes in versus him. So basically, set up Trick Room, getting Crab, do work. Diancie is a great rocker versus him because he did bring Xatu. I'm Shukaberry. So I actually decided to lead off with Diancie, as it took a hit from literally everything on his team. And it would give me rocks early as he leads off a Rhydon. Now, he does pop my Shukaberry. This is pretty important because that means I can't really check an Earthquake Incineroar a little bit better. But I thought I valued rocks a lot in this game, especially because he more than likely wasn't running Defog on Xatu, considering he has Toxic Spikes and potentially Spikes on Garbodor. So I get up my rocks here, as I'm now going to go Slowbro as he brings up his own rocks. Very good play. However, what I can do now is go for Trick Room. And my Slowbro actually has Trick Room and Toxic, so he goes Slowking. I'm able to land my Toxic, which is great, as he goes for Future Sight. This is pretty bad, because if he's Future Sight on Slowking, that means he's more than likely Assault Vest, and he probably has Dragon Tail. But as long as he doesn't Dragon Tail me out into Crab or, I think, Ursaring, I'm pretty good. Like anything else, I'm okay with him Dragon Tailing me out into. So at this point, I'm going to throw off Scald, just to weaken the Slowking, as he does go for a Scald. At this point, I know that the Dragon Tail is coming out. So I just have to hope he doesn't get the Crab, because Future Sight will blow it away. Same thing with Ursaring. Unfortunately, he Dragon Tails me out directly into Crabominable, and it goes down. A Pokemon that would have gone in. So that really does suck, but I mean, I still have opportunities to win, because Ursaring and Slowbro itself even break. So I bring out Slowbro now. Now, because Hydro Vortex, if I had it, would be able to knock out the Slowking, and I thought that Heliolisk would be his best switching, because it would take a hit, it would also take a Psychic. I throw off my Shattered Psychic, which guarantee knocks out Heliolisk, trying to catch it on the switching, as he's going to bring out Xatu. I don't catch a Heliolisk, however, I do dodge a Toxic, which is pretty important. It might come into play later, but I can go for Trick Room, as he's going to bring out Slowking, and once again, just throw off a Scald. Scald would be able to knock out Xatu. Xatu's in range of rocks. At this point, I'm going to throw off a Psychic, that way he can't pivot into Heliolisk at all, as he goes for Future Sight. And his best play is just to sack the Xatu. That way he can bring out Heliolisk, Volt Switch, and also hit a Pokemon with Future Sight at the same time. So I know that's happening. I'm going to go Aldino, because Aldino can take the onslaught of both Volt Switch plus Future Sight, though it does invite in Garbodor. Now, Aldino is still pretty important, because it can Trick Room up on Rhydon, Slowking, and Heliolisk. So I'm going to switch out into my Slowbro, as he goes for Gunk Shot. Misses. So he's missing his Poison moves versus me. It's pretty big. As I'm able to go right for the... I'm going to go right for the Trick Room. I'm going to go right out to the Village Crusher. Right? I nicknamed it Village Crusher. Shout out to you if you remember where that's from. But we're able to go right out into our Village Crusher here. Going to go right for Facade. He sacks Slowking. That's great, because he doesn't pivot in on my Slowbro at all, as he's going to bring out Rhydon. Now, I valued either a dead Garbodor, because basically close combat would do like 70% to Rhydon. But if he goes Garbodor, which is more than likely Rocky Helmet, I would not be able to knock it out. However, it would give me an extra Trick Room turn, but it would also allow Incineroar to come out. So what I decided to do right here was go for Facade, because, again, damage on Rhydon is super crucial. Super crucial for me. Now, I can't go out into, unfortunately, my Executor, because if it is an offensive SD Incineroar, dropping a Draco would be my best play if I went Executor, right? Incineroar actually takes a -2 Specs Draco, so I can't do that. I'm going to go out to Slowbro here. I'm going to throw off a Psychic, because Heliolisk is probably his best switching, and getting off damage on Heliolisk would be nice, but I'm forced to switch at this point. I'll bring out Executor, as he is going to Volt Switch out into his Rhydon. Now, this tells me one of two things. He's either Mega Horn or Ice Punch. I'm going to lead more towards Ice Punch at this point. If he went Incineroar, that means that he was Malicious Moonsault, the Z move. So I wasn't sure exactly what Z was on Incineroar. I know it was offensive though, just based on his build. But brings that right on. I'm gonna make the Slowbro play. Now had he Earthquaked here, it'd be able to 2-hit KO me. And this is where actually hitting Toxic would have been better for me, because I'm taking two turns as opposed to the one turn and then turn after. But I go for Trick Room now. Now, if I attack him, I lose Slowbro, which is hella important because I can bring it to Trick Room up on Garbodor and pretty much win. So I'm forced to save my Slowbro. I'm going to go out into my Executor. It was the most expendable member. I could Healing Wish with Audino to bring back Slowbro, and Diancie can also Diancie can 1v1 his team too. So he makes a really good call, acknowledges the fact that if I sack that Mon, I probably will lose, goes right for Ice Punch. As I'm bringing right back out my Slowbro. Now right here, this was another call I had to make, whether or not he's Z Tectonic Rage on Incineroar or like Malicious Moonsault. So basically, I was pretty positive he'd stay in here. However, if he didn't, it was worse for me if he went Helios, because I wouldn't be able to knock something out this turn. So I guess it was a true 50-50 in any case. I throw off a Psychic trying to get the Helios because I barely miss out on the KO. I do 53% to ride on, man. I barely miss out on the KO. That's another thing, Psychic, because on max special attack had a decent KO range at that point. But then again, I don't know his EV spread. I know he's offensive though. More offensive than anything else, but he's able to knock me out with Earthquake. However, again, if he is not Z Tectonic Rage on Incineroar, I still have a chance to win, because what I can do now is go for the Healing. I don't know why I Mega Evolved, but I can go for the Healing Wish, and the cool thing is Diancie can win. Power Gem will knock Incineroar, Power Gem will 2-hit KO Garbodor, and I knock out Helios too. So I bring out my Diancie as he goes right for the SD, and it turns out he's actually Tectonic Rage, which is going to be enough to knock out my Diancie. So that was a good game. I end up losing 3-1 in playoffs. The NU game, I think, was the only one that, like, I'll be real with you, I feel like RU and Ubers, I don't know what I could have done differently in these two. Like, even Yu was a bad matchup too, but I was able to have some leg room there. But RU and Ubers, he played super well in these two. So very, very, very nice prep on his part for sure in this. And this one, obviously I dodged a few attacks, but I also feel like Crab would have went in if he didn't Dragon Tail it. Like, why couldn't you have Dragon Tail the neck and not the Crab? But yeah, so no excuses. I lost to Pohjis 3-1 in Grand Slam playoffs. It sucks because I really wanted to win, obviously, get my first individual trophy. I have 2 team trophies on Smogon, but I mean, individual trophies, like, it's cooler, obviously. But yeah, good game to Pohjis. It was a great run, for sure. So if you guys didn't know, sorry, I'm trying to like put my words together. Obviously, I'm sad about this. Like, I tried my best throughout this narration to not be sad, by the way. I don't know if you could tell. You probably could. But then again, that might be either sad or tired, to be fair. But yeah, it was a great run. Honestly, thank you, Tony, for the prep for this. Thank you, 49, for the team. The matchup was just not there. Thank you, Zesty, for the Ubers team. And thank you, Count, for the NU team. I really wanted to win this one specifically because it's his best tier. And also, Pohjis beat me last year in NU Open. So this was something I really, really, really wanted to win. And I felt like the Crab could have done it too. Oh, he played this one really well, though, and definitely did what he had to do. So I do hope you guys all enjoyed. Of course, if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.